Okay, okay, okay. If y'all can hear me, show some signs in the chat. Let's go. The odds are stacked up against you, but you can win.
Win anyway.
Keep your eyes on the prize, 'cause you can win.
Win anyway.
You've got too much to live for. Win anyway.
Win anyway.
This is only one chapter in your book. Keep reading, keep praying, keep
Win
healing.
anyway.
Purpose is calling you. Wake up, wake up, wake up. People are in your corner that you haven't met yet. Dreams, visions that you haven't unlocked yet. Hey, resources, relationships, revenue. It's just around the corner. Let's go, let's go. If you in the gym, win anyway. If you in your car, win anyway. If you at home, win anyway. Let's go. God is
graduating my faith to
God
trust.
is
Graduating my faith to
God
trust.
is
Graduating my faith to trust.
Trust you,
I'll
Lord.
trust you
Trust
in the
you,
middle
Lord.
of this whole
Trust you, Lord.
way.
Trust you, Lord. Trust you, Lord. I 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 trust you, Lord.
I have no other choice. I have no other choice. I have no other choice but to trust you, God. I have no other choice. I have no other choice. I have no other choice but to trust you, God.
You fought too
I have
hard.
no other choice. I have no other
You
choice.
made it this
I have no
far.
other choice but to trust you, God.
You can't give
I
up
have no other choice.
now.
I have no other choice.
You can't give
I
up
have no other choice but
now.
to trust you, God.
Come on, come on. Listen, you can make it. You can do this. You are on the right side. I'll
I have
trust
no
you,
other
Lord.
choice.
I'll
I have
trust
no
you,
other
Lord.
choice.
I'll
I have
trust
no
you,
other
Lord.
choice but to
I'll
trust you,
Lord.
God. I have no other choice. I have no other choice. I have no other choice but to trust you, God.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is the first time, so we're going to get the kinks out and hopefully you guys can see this. But if not, we will post it later. Um, but I just want to welcome my good friend, my long friend, Dr. Courtney Bryant to the stage. How are you, Courtney? How are you? How are you? How are you?
I am great. I am great. I'm excited for this conversation. And it was funny because as I was sitting watching you dance to your music, I was like, yo, God is so illmatic because that phone call I received
Yeah.
talking about Sean is on the ground. We're not sure what is going to happen. Just to see you like smiling and rejoicing and like lifting your
Yeah.
hands, I'm tripping, yo. God is such a keeper.
Yeah.
God is such
God is
a keeper.
such a keeper. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful for your prayers. I'm grateful for your hugs. I'm grateful for your love. I'm grateful for your cash apps. I'm grateful for you coming to the hospital when I had the first stroke. And I was in the hospital for fi- quite a few weeks when I could not see anyone from my family. And in the middle of the pandemic, you made your way to the hospital to see about me. And that
It
means the world to me. Means the world to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, you don't understand. I was a wreck. Like, wait, hold up. Just the wait, the waiting. Like, okay, what's gonna happen next? Yeah, I was like, yo, where do I need to be? So it's
Yeah.
always an honor. It's an honor to be your friend because you're dope out here. You are. You are.
Well, beauty knows company, and I feel like we're a mirror to each other.
I
Um,
receive it. I receive it. I receive it. I receive it. You
yes,
ready to get into these questions though? Because I'm about to have this Oprah moment with you. I can't wait.
yes, yes. I can wait.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait. So talk a little bit so that I can rearrange the broadcast so that people can see it. I know that there are four people, but people are texting me that they can't see it through
Okay.
YouTube. And so go ahead and do what you do, and
Okay.
then
I'll
I will
stand
come
by.
back. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
So, uh, okay.
Hmm.
We're going to keep on going, and then we can repost it so that
Okay.
viewers can see it. Yeah, but we're here, and I'm ready, and
Okay.
it's going to be good. So
It's
you
gonna
can
be
go on with the
amazing.
questions.
All right. So I had some time. I spent some time with your book. First and foremost, like first, what is this for you? What number is this for you? Just so that people can understand that you are true to this, not new to this.
It's 10 books. Yeah,
10
it's 10.
books.
Yeah, 10.
So your 10th book, Win Anyway, right?
Yeah.
First of all, it was amazing. I love the fact, I mean, there are so many things that I love about it. And so we're going to actually take it one thing at a time. But first, I want to talk about the fact that you do this really wonderful thing with the book. You don't say anyway and then lay out this is what it is, this is how you win, but you really allow the reader to understand that success is tailor made. One of the things that you
Yes.
say is that we shouldn't be paying attention, not necessarily paying attention, but getting overly concerned about what others are doing or what winning is for them. And it's amazing. This week, I did the biggest thing for my self care ever, and I turned the like count off on
Mhm.
Facebook and on Instagram. And the way that that thing has revolutionized my social media, like I'm enjoying it so much more now because I'm not worried about oh who liked what or who liked my thing. And it brings me back to your statements about winning, that it's tailor made and that we have to determine for ourselves what
Mm.
winning means to us. And so you
Yeah.
offer sort of blueprint or strategy for determining what winning means to a particular person or to us personally. And it made me think, okay, this is a great way to start our conversation. What is winning for you? What is uniquely success in your mind?
Yeah. So winning starts with peace
Mm.
in my spirit, in my life. Whatever
Mm.
does not bring you peace is not your win. It might be
Okay.
somebody else's win, it might be the culture's win, but if it doesn't bring you peace, it's not your
Mhm.
win. And
So,
so,
oh, I'm sorry, you have more. I'm sorry. I just got to jump in there though. If it doesn't bring you peace, I'm so sorry because you know I get excited. If it doesn't bring you peace, it's not your win. And what's so crazy about that is you weren't like, if it doesn't bring you joy, if it doesn't bring you happiness, you went with peace. I need to know why.
because God's favor is on those who have peace in their souls, not
Mm,
peace in their atmosphere, not peace in their flesh.
Mm,
but peace in their soul. Um, because there are people that live in fancy houses, but they don't have
mm,
peace. There are
mm,
people that rent from uh, places that they don't even own, but in the one bedroom studio, they have more peace than everybody in the upper echelon of our day.
mhm,
There are people who
mhm,
are married because it's an arrangement, but they don't
mm,
even like each other.
mm.
There are people who make a lot of money, but the money doesn't really bring them peace. And in my life, it's purpose and peace. So, what
Yes.
gives me purpose for the world and what gives me peace for me, that's my win.
Talk to me
Um,
about what peace feels like in your soul, because you made a distinction between peace in your soul and peace in your flesh.
yeah.
How does that look different? Talk to me about that.
So, because I'm a man of faith,
Mm,
I can't live without prayer. And if
mhm,
I can't live without prayer, I can't live without God's blessing.
mhm,
So when I talk about peace in my soul, I talk about God being on the front line of my game. If I'm playing soccer, if I'm playing tennis, if I'm playing football, and he's cheering for me because
mhm,
he knows that I'm out there doing my thing for his glory.
mhm,
Um, but if he's not there, or if he's there and he's liking what everybody else is doing, but he's looking at me and I'm pretending to be someone else, then that
yes.
is peace for the world, but it's not peace for my
Mm,
soul.
that's so
And
good.
um, and I know that because my daughter, practically, she is a marker for me for peace, a marker for me for purpose, a marker for me for legacy, a marker for me, because I only have one church member, and that's my daughter. If
Mm,
she's not happy with the changes and choices that I'm making, then God is not happy, because that is the
mm,
only person that God has equipped me to
mm,
build in this earth. Everybody else
mm,
is an onlooker. And
mm,
so practically, she stands at the marker between God and what I'm to do. And because I'm her father, I just went to, I guess, 6 or 7 soccer games, and she did not win any of them
mm.
when I was there. The only one that she won, I was in another country, and it was her last game. But I was there on the sidelines cheering her on, because it didn't matter if she
Mm.
won the game.
Yeah.
She needed
Yeah.
her father to be present
Yes.
with her. And I want everyone to think about that with whatever you're winning. It's
Mhm.
not really that important to God and to purpose if
Mm,
you win at the top of your league, or if you get straight A's, or if you are the first to do it. It doesn't matter what lane you're in. You just need to win. You just,
mm,
because all of us are going to get there. Some will get there shorter, some will get there um, quicker, but you have to
mm,
um, be a track runner in your mind, because
mm,
a track runner's success is to stay in their lane and
mm,
get their own um, get go to the finish line, um,
mhm.
because they're a racer. If
Yeah.
I go to the finish line and I'm gold, cool. If I go to the finish line and I'm silver, cool. But
Yeah.
I want to be I want to be that finisher that doesn't look to my left and look to my right, because when I look to my left and I look to my right, I get distracted from what I'm doing.
Yeah. You've said a
And
thing here,
so
and it's an important thing. I just want to stop you right there. You stay in your lane, right?
stay in your
Because
lane.
if we're not in our own lane and we're trying to run somebody else's race, what happens?
if we're not in our own lane, I mean, so the preacher in me says this, God cannot duplicate his
Mm,
anointing in the
mm-hmm,
earth. So
mm-hmm,
somebody's pretending. If you're not in your lane, somebody's
mm-hmm.
pretending.
And then there's
And
oh, you're more. My bad. Finish, finish.
no. And
I was
so, and so I don't want all of this energy to be spent on someone else's work. I want it to be spent on what I am meant to do and what I
mm,
am meant to fulfill and what
yes,
my brain is meant to accomplish.
yes.
And if we can do that collectively, then everybody wins.
There you
Then
go.
everybody wins.
So
Go
there was
ahead.
something that you, and actually you just said it again. So everybody wins. And you said it doesn't matter, the pace or what have you, ultimately we'll all win. That is not something that everybody thinks. Particularly when we think about the Black community, W.E.B. Du Bois, the talented 10th, right? That there are certain people who thrive and can do these amazing things, and then there are others who just don't. So the idea that everybody can win is not something that everybody holds. And I'm wondering how this idea that everybody can win has helped to help you win. You know what I mean? Like it kind of
Mm,
reminds me of what they say about the elephant, right? And you can keep an elephant on a string, not a string, but a leash, right? And then after a few months, you can take that leash off, and the elephant will never go further than the distance of that leash, right? And that there's
yeah,
something about having the ability to believe that something can happen makes it so. Can you talk a little
yeah.
bit about that and how believing that everyone can win has actually helped you win?
Um, it's the presence of God in my life.
Mm,
I think it's the love of God and it's worship because I'm a human being like everybody else. But
yeah.
worship cleanses my lenses.
Mm,
Worship um, renews my palate.
mm-hmm,
Worship makes me whole. Worship uh, purifies my
yeah,
gaze.
I
And
love that.
so when I'm worshiping in the spirit, when I am talking to God, I see the world the way he sees the world.
Mm,
I don't
mm-hmm,
see it as a black man. I don't see it as a gay man. I don't see it as an illiterate man. I don't see it as a father. I see it the way he sees the world. And because of his gaze,
mm,
I can say everybody can win.
mm, yes.
Even when our brothers, who are supposed to be our brothers, stand in opposition, God
Mhm.
can make everybody win because
Amen.
God is the greatest power. And I think that when we deify the distractions, when we
Mm-hmm.
deify the illusions, when we deify the enemy, I mean, it's just that simple, then we take our eyes off of winning for our own
Mm.
race.
I just want you to know that I'm keeping a running list of the gems that have been dropped so far. There have been two. Deify the distractions. Somebody write that down, okay? And then the second one was worship cleanses my lenses such that
Worship
I
cleanses
can
my
see like
lenses.
God sees. Ooh, come on.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of positive self-talk here, right, that keeps us in the game. It keeps us focused on what we're supposed to be focused on. And one of the things that I love about Win Anyway is that interspersed throughout the book are these affirmations that you offer for people to recite throughout the process of their strategies for success and throughout the book. I know that as a creator myself, and when we talk about creators, I'm talking about people who write, people who preach, people. I'm starting to believe that all human beings are creators. We co-create with God. In fact, I'm starting to believe that human beings actually call what God intends into existence. That's why it's so important for us, right, to be righteous. But I also know that as a creator, right, I'll spend time with my little article, with my little book, with my little sermon, right? And then I'll be very, very scared to share it with the world. In fact, I remember, I think I called you about this. Like, when I
Yeah.
finished my manuscript and I sent it to the publisher, for like
Yes.
2 weeks, I went into this deep depression and felt like there was like a presence in the corner of my room, my
Yes.
bedroom, like,
Yes.
nobody, nobody's
Mm-hmm.
gonna read that. Nobody cares, right? And so there is the presence of doubt in the life of a creator is huge. Can you talk a little bit about the role of doubt in the life of a
Mm.
creator and the role of affirmations in the life of a creator?
Okay. So you said a lot.
I'm sorry. So let's start with doubt.
I wa- no, no, no. I
Oh
want
no.
to
No.
say this before I
Okay.
forget it,
Do it.
that what you just experienced because you created something and then you finished, that experience is not um, unique.
Right.
Every single person that finishes has that at the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if they get the gold medal. I don't care if they finish last. If you finish, you're going to be scared at
Mm-hmm.
the overwhelming satisfaction and fear of being at the finish line so that others can see.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what I want to say to those who are watching this interview, that you need to really factor in your humanness. I know that
Mm-hmm.
your gift is great. I know that if you are religious, your discipline and your devotional life is great, but factor in your humanness
Come on,
because
somebody.
I don't care how strong you are. Everybody has something that they hide. I don't
Mm.
care how smart you are.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a word that they cannot pronounce. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care how spiritual you are. Everybody has a thorn in their flesh. I
Come
don't
on.
care how much money you have.
Mm.
Everybody's poor in some way. And I
Mm.
think with this area of social media and always comparing ourselves to someone else's highlight reel, we forget to factor in our own humanness. It is human to be
Yeah.
fearful. It is
Yeah.
not sinful to be fearful. It is human to be fearful. It is human to be lonely. It is human to be scared. And what we have to do is take our humanness to a supernatural God and trust that if God did it for us when we did not even know that we were strong enough to do it, then He will maintain us at every step of the way. And
Yeah.
so don't let your humanness stop you from winning because after all of this, I still have doubts. And there's not going to be a time where you will
Mm.
not have doubts because every round goes higher and higher. And so that's what I want to
Mm.
say for the
Mhm.
first part of this
Okay.
conversation. But there's another part to this affirmation thing.
Mm.
As you know, this is my 10th book. I stopped
Mm.
counting around 7 books. So I might have more, but this is my 10th book, and
Very
I
temporarily. I might.
am I'm a Christian writer. I'm a Christian speaker. I'm a Christian
Mm.
singer.
Mhm.
So that's my comfort zone. That's my home. But this
Mhm.
book is different than any other book that I've written because I left the church in my writing. I
Mm.
left the sermons in my writing. I wanted to talk to the world who
Mhm.
doesn't go to church. I wanted to talk to the brothers that are on the football field. I wanted to talk to the Wall Street people who are making hard decisions in boardrooms. And so, because I'm a teacher, I have practiced in my writing practical things as I conclude every single book. This is the first time that I did not have a prayer at the title or at the end of every single chapter, because in my life, my prayer life is strong. My prayer life with God is strong. We go at it. I'm saying it be strong in this house. When I'm mad, I go to God. When I'm sad, I go to God. When I'm frustrated, I go to God. And when I'm just here, I go to God. So that relationship is strong. But the one that's weakest is my affirming myself. When I look in the mirror, I have to affirm myself before someone else affirms me. When I look in the mirror, I have to see the gift of God in me. I have to see what other people say about me in me. And so in this book, I wanted to close the chapter with something that I could give to the world so that you could affirm yourself. Because in my life, the prayer thing was never um, the
The issue.
the issue.
That wasn't the problem.
It
Yeah.
was the way I saw myself, um, and that goes right into doubt, right? So if you don't affirm yourself, then you create room for everyone else to say whatever they want to say about you, about your gifts, about your talents, about your beauty, about whatever. And so, if you don't have a strong prayer life, if you don't have a strong affirmation life with your own self, you can speak anything into existence. I just talked a couple days ago about um, when I recovered from my last stroke. I was saying in a joking manner, the stroke is still stroking. When I would forget something, the stroke is still stroking, or whatever. And I stopped it one day because I really received that, like I was prophesying when I
Come
was
on.
when I was saying that, I was prophesying that this stroke is going to have an effect on me, even though I
Right.
can wish, I can want something else for my life. And so we have to create, um, we have to create boundaries with our words because words
Woo.
create worlds.
There it
And
is.
if you do not create boundaries with your world, with your words, then you will wake up and be inside of a world that you created, but it's a purgatory world. It's a hellish world. And so that's why I created the affirmations in this book.
Gem number 3. Words create worlds. No, come on. I mean, we could go on and on and on about that. And it reminds me, so in the African tradition, they believe, and don't get me to lying about which one, because we know there's more than one. But there's this tradition of nomo, right? That we can speak things into existence. And we all know that from the Christian perspective, God speaks the world into existence. And one of the things that frustrates me about people in general, and sometimes even myself, is that we really do not stand in our power. And we are very cavalier with the ways that we wield the power that we have, right? Particularly the power of words. So I'm so excited to hear you say that you stopped that foolishness of the stroke is still stroking, because the stroke is not doing nothing anymore. We
Yeah.
done. We're looking past it. All
Yeah.
right. Want to move to a new question. You ready?
All right, let's go.
All right. So in the book, you talk about how different experiences in our life sort of shape our ethics, what we do, how we treat people. And specifically, you offer in one of the reflections, oh, and that's one of the other things that's so fantastic. So not only are we getting good content, not only are we getting affirmations, but then I love a workbook. So at the end of chapters or sections, you're giving us reflection questions, and I love that because then it becomes a conversation, not just with not just you telling your story, but an opportunity for us to answer questions you've offered and then to like think that through spiritually. So I love that.
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
digress. So you have these reflection questions, and one of the reflection questions that you asked that really kind of resonated with me is, which part of your life has shaped you to be more thoughtful toward other people? And I thought this was so good because we live in a time and a world of like, I feel like it's cool to be critical, like it's cool to have something negative to say, like, oh, it's almost as if that's the only thing we can add to a
Yep.
conversation. So to sit back and say, well, hold on a second, like, how can I move differently, right? And how can I be more thoughtful to people? Like, first of all, I saw this meme the other day. It was like, I'm not doing anything that I don't want to do, right? Where we're very into our me. But to
Hmm.
sit and take a moment to think, how can I be more thoughtful of others? So the
Yep.
question is, what has happened in your life that you think has helped you to be more thoughtful about other people in your life, particularly those who are different from you?
The valley seasons.
Mm,
The valley
mhm,
seasons. The valley seasons humble you. The
mm,
valley seasons demote you. The
mm,
valley seasons, when Paul was knocked off that horse, he saw different. And
mm,
God sometimes has to blind us to guide us. Um, the valley seasons, I could go back to rejection when I really wanted to go to a PhD program, and I know that I'm smart, but I don't know who's in that room. So I
mhm,
got rejected. That humbled me.
mhm,
When I had my stroke, and the strokes were different. Um, the last stroke was meant to take me out of here.
mhm,
But the first stroke, I determined that I would look at people differently because the first stroke did not do anything to my exterior. So when
mhm,
I walked around, I looked like everybody else, but
mhm,
I knew that there was
mhm,
something wrong with me. And
mhm,
so when I had my first stroke, um, I saw people from the invisible disabilities side. So
mm,
everybody is disabled, but you can't really know what my disability is if it's not on my exterior.
mhm,
Everybody is disabled by heartbreak right now, by low self esteem, by depression, by unemployment, by racism, by sexism, by homophobia, by whatever their parents have said in their families. Somebody is battling with something that you cannot see.
yeah.
And it made me different. It
Mhm,
made me pay attention. It made me um, annihilate hurry from my life. I've
mm,
always been in the fast lane.
yes.
When I was tw- uh, when I was in college, I
Mhm,
determined that I was going to get my degree in 3 years instead of four.
mhm,
When I was 30 years old, I had already three master's degrees. I've always been in the fast lane, but now that I'm in this season of my life, I really want to take it slow. I
yeah.
really want to be a vessel where people can feel the presence of God. not
Yeah.
just hear
Yes.
a poignant point,
Ooh.
because people will forget what you said, but they
Mhm.
will never forget how you made them feel.
Mhm.
And I got this from Cheryl Brady. It's hard to be nice in a rush.
Mm.
When you are hurried, you can't be nice.
That's right. Yeah.
So when I was investigating even my own kindness a few years ago, I said, I have to move out of this fast lane so that I can be nicer to myself, to those around me, and to
Mm.
God.
Mhm.
And so I don't know what your question was, but how here we are.
No, you've answered it. You've answered it. So you you talked about the valleys, right? The valleys helped you to
Yeah,
see invisible disabilities that everyone has.
everyone
You talked
has.
about how those valleys demoted you, but also it taught you how to slow down, right?
Yeah.
And be kind to other people. So, yeah, no, you answered it. You answered it and then some. All right, moving on to my next question. Yep. Okay. Yeah, we've
Okay.
got time. All right. So one of the things that I love about you, Sean, is that
Okay.
you come up with a thing. You're like, yeah, I want to develop an online worshiping community, and I'm going to write a book where we read the Bible in a year, and I'm going to pull different people together so that God gets the glory. Like, I mean, I can't tell you how many ideas I have had over the course of my life about how I'm going to glorify God, right? Maybe about a third of them get done. But I feel like you're
Hmm.
different because you'll see my third and you'll be like, yeah, no, I got three quarters and then some done. And I'm just trying to understand, first of all, like there aren't enough hours in the day. You're on your 10th book. You are younger than me. Like, I often feel like a slouch, but it's not about a comparison. I'm going to be in my own lane and figure out what winning is to me.
Yes. Yes.
But at the same time, one of the things that I know about you is that you are not a man of excuses. Like
No.
when you're like, I'm gonna write this book, you set deadlines for yourself and then you
Yes.
hit those deadlines. Like I know if you have a project, I'm gonna call you, you're not gonna call me back.
Right.
And because we've been friends for so long, I know that like I don't take it I'm not
Personally.
emotional, right? I don't take it personally
Right.
anymore. But before I used to be like, that's not my friend. Like, where is he? What is he doing? He don't care. Right. But then I got it. Like, no, this man is on a mission. And
Hmm.
so being mission minded requires a kind of discipline that I am just beginning to grow. Or like, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe in the last 5 years. But like I feel like you came out the womb, like, what are we about to do? What are we about to start? Let me sing this song. Let me write this musical. And I'm just like, what? Like how? And so my question is, what is your relationship with excuses? And like teach the people, teach me. What is it that allows you to come up against obstacle after? I mean, like it's not like it's been peaches and rainbows for you
No.
for your life. I mean,
No,
like
it
you've
hasn't.
had some serious setbacks even prior to the stroke. Like there are things that you wrestle with that, like I always call it advanced placement life. Like, you don't have like a regular life. You're going to get these extra things. And I often think that that's because, we can call it the enemy, we call it the devil, whatever we want to call it. Like there are things in this world that want to stop us from our purpose. There are
Yeah.
things in this world that uh, want to hinder, right, the
Yeah.
gifts that we can offer. Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I'll be like, oh, it's raining outside today. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it. Oh, I had a hard day yesterday. I feel like maybe I should rest. Like I am very good at letting myself off the hook. You, you do not like well, I gotta laugh. But like that is not your story. And so I'm just
Yeah.
interested in like what are your thoughts on excuses and like how come we never hear them coming out of your mouth as it pertains to work? I mean, don't get me wrong, you have flaked on me in other arenas, other avenues of
Yeah.
life. But like you
Yes.
about that work. So talk to me about that. Relationship with
So
the excuses.
yeah, I had great models. Um, Everyone knows that my pillars are my grandfather and my grandmother. Everyone knows that. If you met me at Princeton, if you met me at Duke, if you met me at Seton Hall, if you met me at um, at Bloomfield College, if you met me at Caldwell College, everyone knows that they are my pillars because my grandfather could not read until he was 40.
Right.
I'm not 40 years old. So can you imagine living in this world without being able to read? And before he
Mm,
closed his eyes to take his last breath, he bought two properties, and one property is paid off. It's um, probably 2 million,
mm,
and his other property, his wife still lives in Georgia.
mm,
What is my excuse? When
mm,
he was in when he was a teenager, he was in jail,
mm,
and that is when he married my grandmother. So they didn't have a honeymoon. They did not have what we deem as checklists for marriage,
mm,
but he did not let that stop him. When my grandmother was married to him, and when he went off to jail, she discovered that she was pregnant with my mother. So
mm,
she had to leave school so that she can
mm.
provide for her family because my
Right.
grandfather wasn't there. She not only um, provided, but she went back to high school in
Mm,
her 50s or late 60s, um, and she determined that she was going to be the valedictorian of her class, and
mm.
she was. And then she
Wow.
had some college credits. So I have two of the most powerful real life examples of like your excuse can be turned into an engine.
Mm,
I don't care what it is. I don't care how late you start. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care if you are on the other side of the world. You can do this. You can do this at your level. You don't have to compare yourself to everybody else, but
mm,
you need to win at your level. And I think
mm,
a part of my purpose is to instigate people to purpose. So I
mm,
think that God helps me out because I'm an instigator. So if I don't have a book, then how will
right.
you be able to say he's going to help me? If I don't
Right.
have a song, then how will you
Mm,
say he's going to help me?
yeah.
So I think I'm purposed in this earth to instigate people for purpose.
Mm,
Um, and then, my upbringing,
mm,
there are a lot of people that rain on a Pentecostal's parade, right? Um, and they
mm,
were like, we were too strict, we were too this, we were too that. But in my life, I did not really have distractions as a
mm.
child. I went to school, I went to church, and then I was home. And
Yeah.
so that positioned me for an entrepreneur life because I didn't have distractions. Um, when I was 23, I was a virgin when I got married. I did not drink until I was married. Right. And so there were no distractions for me to get, acquainted with. So I was
Mm,
just on my grind. And I've always wanted to be an adult. I've always wanted to be an adult. Even when I was like my daughter, she loves school. I hated the summer as a kid. So when I
mm,
used to go on summer vacation, I would bring books in my cars and
mm,
in the rides. I would bring books of like 20 books, and people
Yeah.
would see me always retaining information, so that was my conduct. And
Yeah.
if, and this is my grandmother's thing, she says, make good of your preparation time.
Mm.
Make
Right.
good of your preparation time. I think that we are too laxed. If we are kingdom citizens, we got to make good of our preparation time. And now I look at the 24 hours that I have, because God is going to handle the rest. How am I going to make God's name great in these 24 hours?
Mm. Wow.
How am I going to make God's name great? How am I going to make an impact for my community? How am I going to love my daughter and love my
Mm.
family the way God loves us? It
Mm.
doesn't have to be a book necessarily, but you need
Mm.
to make an impact every single day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I so agree with that. And I find that when we do that, like I really have become sold out on trying my best to move in the world in love. And there's something about moving in the world in love, right? Like, not number one, I love the way that it impacts people because they don't expect it. But then secondly, I love the way it makes me feel, right? Like that when we're giving to the world, um, it comes back, and it comes
Yeah.
back like three and fourfold. And it's interesting because a lot of people, it's in vogue now to talk about Christianity and martyrdom and sacrifice. And don't get me wrong, I think that stuff is important. Um, but I think sometimes sacrifice gets a bad rap. And I mean, I get that. Like, nobody wants to sacrifice in the same ways nobody wants to suffer, right? When we think
Right,
about
right,
it.
right, right.
But we negate the way that sacrifice or offering oneself to one's community or offering oneself to another person begins this kind of reciprocal experience or dynamic, such that when I am giving love, I mean, the way that that thing comes right back and fills me and grows me and expands me and gives me more tools to do more things, such that this sacrificial love, or the sacrifice of love, doesn't even feel like a sacrifice once it becomes a practice, once it becomes
Yes.
an ethic. And that's what I'm
Yeah.
hearing you say.
Ooh, yes, yes, yes. Ethic. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Because
good. That's
you're
good.
on your 10th book. And I mean, so I'm on my one little baby book so far. But the joy that I get when a friend or someone that I don't know, comes to me and says, "Oh, I read an article you wrote," or I read a chapter in your book and it's got me thinking all of these things. And even if they're not like, "Oh my goodness, it was written well," but it's got me
Hmm.
thinking all of these things. The fact that my gift or my contribution could spark something else, whoo, child. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll take money. But
Yes.
but I mean, sometimes that's almost bigger for me. For me. Now, I
Hmm.
know I'm a little bit different, but oh my gosh, the way it fills me up, right?
Yeah.
Until I'm almost brimming. It's like overflow,
Hmm.
such that I got more to give, and it feels fantastic. Okay, I have a final question for you.
Okay.
You've talked a lot about winning anyway, about pressing past doubt. You have accomplished so much. But I wonder, right? Uh, what are you still afraid of? What is it in your life that you are currently still trying to conquer?
Um, Grief. That's what I'm trying to
Mm,
conquer. Grieving the loss of those who died in my life, um, and then grieving the loss of those whose relationships died in my life,
mm,
grieving the loss of those things that were really important to me. And I fumbled them or they're not existing anymore.
Mm,
Um, in the last 5 years, there
mhm,
has been a roller coaster of grief.
mhm,
Some people know about, some people don't know about.
mhm,
Um, but if I had to say what I am still um, wrestling with every day, it
mhm,
is grieving the loss of those who are still living and grieving the loss of those who have died in my life.
mhm,
That is a real battle for me.
mhm,
Um, and if there's something that I can say to the world, but I got this book done with a grieving heart,
mm,
that I moved into my house with a grieving heart,
mhm,
that whatever you are dealing with, you can have that and still win. You can have cancer and still
mm.
win. You can
Come
have
on.
a stroke and still win. You can have an F and still win. You can have a disability and still
Yeah.
win. You can be taking medicine and still win. And I don't want you to think that watching us right now, there's a point that the relationship got better and then the book got written. Or there's a point that I got better or I got the PhD and then I said, this is now the book. I needed to write this at the intermission of my life
Mm,
because I wanted everything, even the accomplishments, to know I'm not doing this for that. I'm doing this to spark a plug in everyone that is hearing me that you can win on your level.
mhm,
And um, that grief is palpable sometimes. When you talk about excuses, you have been my friend. So you have been there when I was on the floor. You have been there when I was sad and I could not eat. You have been with me in my house when I had nothing to give. And I need everyone to hear me when I say this. You've got to get some long friends
mm,
because you cannot win by yourself. I don't
mm,
care how strong you are, there will come a weak chapter of your life, and you've got to get some strong friends that know how to pray. Courtney is my first prayer partner. I have some amazing friends. I mean, I'm amazed at God's faithfulness in my life. But Courtney, I was in Germany um, in college. I don't even know. It was so long ago now. And
It
I
was that, yeah,
called,
it was like after div school.
oh my God, I called you at 3 o'clock in the morning and you sat with me for an hour. And that prayer saved my life
Mm,
because you did not come on the phone investigating what I was calling you for. You just got me to God and just left me there. And then you serenaded me with the love of God. And I
oh,
never forgot that. And to this day, before we got on this StreamYard, I asked Courtney to pray because I want to be a vessel
there
that
it
God can
is.
trust. I want to be a vessel. I don't have to be the smartest. I don't have to be the prettiest. I don't have to be the wisest, but I want to be the cleanest.
Mm, mm,
I want to be the vessel that God can pour his love into the world through
Hallelujah.
my gift, through my offering, through my obedience, through my love. If you don't even purchase a book, but you
Mm,
were impacted, then I have been what he needed me to be in your life right now. And this
exactly.
is the thing, and God will make up the difference every single time.
Every time. Every
He
time.
will make up the difference if you just trust him. If you throw away doubt and you just go I mean, I am afraid, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yes.
In my life right now, I relate to the father that came to Jesus and said, I believe, but help my unbelief.
Mm, come on.
I believe, but help my unbelief. So when y'all see the post that I post online, know that I'm believing, but help my unbelief.
Come on. That's it.
I have I have I have gifts that I believe in, but this I don't know what I'm doing,
Come
right?
on.
And you have to have a friend circle that will pray for you, and then you have to
Mhm,
have people that know more than you so that they can graduate you to the next level. I
mhm.
have someone right now that works in the Ukraine. I met her on upwork.com. She has been my graphic designer for about 9 years.
Oh, wow.
She's a white woman. And when she she was in Ukraine before Ukraine got hit by Russia. When
Hmm.
she phoned me, she was like, I can't work for you for 6 months because I have to leave my house and we have to get out. And I did what I had to do to invest in her. I've never seen her in my like
Wow.
in my face, right? But
Yeah.
God will make up for what you're missing,
Wow.
even if it's on the other side of the world, even if
Mm,
it's the people that you so I have many friends that I met at Duke. Courtney is my closest friend, and we weren't even that close at Duke. So
a
God
little
is a
bit.
God of surprises. I mean, compared to now, how we are now and
Absolutely.
how
It's
we
grown.
were then, this is an impactful connection. I
Mhm.
think that soulmates are friends too. I think
Amen.
that
I think so
soulmates are
too.
friends too. I think when I hear you on the phone, I don't even have to realize what you're saying. I'm like, yep, she's this, or she's that, or she's this, or she's that, because there's a connection.
Yes.
That's why I knew the first one I wanted to do with you. For the virtual interviews or whatever, because you're the smartest woman I know. Okay. So
Right.
let's go back to this. So this little book that she has written,
Go. Here we go.
it is a volume.
It's
Okay. It is a volume. And I just want to, I just want to, I just want to boast about my friend. She has a PhD from Vanderbilt. Okay. That's not a little rinky dink school. Okay.
hey,
This
hey.
is this is a priceless jewel that y'all are seeing. And she
Mm,
is the smartest person that I know.
stop
And I
it.
know a
Don't
lot
go
of
building
smart people.
compliments. You
All right.
do. You do know a
And
lot of
so,
smart people.
and if anybody
And you gonna
knows
make
me,
them mad at
no,
me.
no,
So
no,
stop.
no, 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 no. And anybody knows me, they know I don't waste words.
You don't.
I don't have to. So if I'm doing that, it's true.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You're making me feel crazy. Thank you. I appreciate
Can you please talk about your book, please, a little bit?
what do you want me to say about it? Yes. I
I
wrote a
want you
book.
to say, no, 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 no. I want you to
Okay.
say, I
Mhm.
want you to give me the inertia of it.
Okay, I
Come on.
will. Hold on. Let me put on my doctor. No, I'm just kidding. So I did. I wrote a book. These are ideas that I have been wrestling with since Duke. Um,
Yeah.
in divinity school, I started thinking about what it means to be a Black person, a Black woman, a Black man, and how, our bodies are the site of oppression, right? Like all of the oppression that we experience oftentimes as a result of how we show up in the world, our Black skin, our kinky hair, right? And so I was thinking a lot about the body as the site of oppression, but also the body as the site of worship, right? And it just how can the body simultaneously be the space of oppression and of worship, and what is the impact, right, that of the power that God gives us on the material world? Like how do our bodies matter, right? How, stop it. I was particularly thinking about this in light of the way that they were killing Black people all over the place. I was thinking about this in light of being a Black woman and always being hypersexualized. I feel like I came out of my mother's womb curvaceous, if that's at all possible. And so I've always had to navigate this body. And as you've
Mm.
said, like I do have intellectual gifts, I also have spiritual gifts. And it's been very interesting to show up in the world and have the first thing people want to do is kind of exploit me for my sexual gifts, right?
Mm.
And so at a very young age, I don't know how young, maybe, in my teens, I began to really learn how to navigate the world such that you see me, this brain, this heart, this soul, before you see this body. And don't get me wrong, I love this body. This body is wonderful, but it's not the totality of who I am. Um, and so I wanted to write a book that spoke to the power of Black people, because we always talk so much about what happens to Black people, and that matters. I'm not saying oppression is not a problem, but when we see each other through that, when we see ourselves through a lens of victimhood, through a lens of oppression, we don't take into consideration the power that we have to change our circumstances, the power that we
Mm-hmm.
have to, I mean, as you said, right? Worlds create words. I'm sorry, words create worlds. That's very true, but actions also create worlds. So what we do with our bodies matter. And so one of the things that I've been thinking about over the course of many years is the ways that the erotic shows up
Yeah.
in our power. Now, people often want to talk about the erotic as solely something sexual, and that's true. The erotic is a sexual thing, but it's far greater than sexuality. And so as I began to research, I always noticed that like whenever people were having erotic experiences, and when I say erotic experiences, I mean the manifestation of love in the flesh. How do we use our bodies? And this is low key what we were just talking about. How do we use our body selves? How do we use these physical creatures that we are to promote love, to offer love to the world, right? Because I mean, what is so faith, hope, and what is it? Faith, hope, and something else. Oh, and love. But the greatest of
Yeah.
these is love. So if
Yeah.
our greatest power is love,
Mm.
and we can demonstrate love through our bodies, how might that change the circumstances of Black people, of Black women, and the like? And so the book is, it's a cool book, actually. I do a lot of theorization of the erotic and compare it to experiences that we've had with the Holy Spirit, right? When we think about the erotic awakens you, it resuscitates you, it nurtures you, it helps you to understand who you are at the root and the core of yourself. Is that not the Holy Spirit? And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
here to say that they're the same, but that clearly they're working in tandem at the very least. And so, what does that mean for us? And then how can we use our erotic powers to change our world and to change our reality? Also, I just want to say this one thing because now you got me in my bag. Now you got me in my bag. But particularly for Black women,
Woo!
right? The world of hip hop, and I do a chapter on hip hop because I am a hip hop head. But it's interesting to me how in this world women, period, but especially Black women have begun to determine their worth based on who they can get to desire them, right? If I can get you to want to have sex with me, or if I can get you to want to stare at me and look at me, then I am in some ways I have power. And that part is low key kind of true. But at the same time, the erotic is greater than that. Like, what are you doing with your
Mm,
words? What are you doing with your body? How are you drawing people into community? How are you
mm.
drawing people into the presence of God? How are you healing people with your body? Did you know you could do that? Because you can. And when we begin to start thinking of our power and begin to think of the expansive nature of our power, I believe we're unstoppable because everything has to do like our success is very much dictated by what we believe we can accomplish. No,
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes,
and
Lord.
so
Yes,
yeah.
Lord.
So I hope folks like it. I hope. I mean, like I really enjoyed writing it. It felt like a spiritual experience. I had to go through a lot. You coached me through so much of it because there are folks in their bag, and so
I
many of the
know.
people in their bag. I
I
mean, the
know.
Levants, the Candaces, beautiful writers, right? Like being so transparent with their lives and offering these powerful testimonies, right, about their bodies and about sexuality that I was like, is there even anything left for me to say? Like, these girls are so
Mhm.
dope. There's the Monique Moultries, there's the Ebony Marshall Termans doing it on the theological academic side and scholarly side. And so I was just like, yo, do I have anything else to say? Because and then I realized, and I think you helped me realize, like, yo, you got to stay in your lane. Like,
Stay in
I'm a
your lane.
scholar, I'm a preacher,
Yep.
but I'm also like a home girl, right? Like when you
Yeah.
talk to me in regular talk, I mean, I'm not going to be using the big words. I mean, I can, don't get me wrong, I can with the best of them, but like, I'm from New York. I love hip hop. I got a big brother who, you know, could be considered, a problem in the streets, or at least he used to be. But so we hold all of these different tensions, but I had to realize, yo, that's what makes you perfect. That's what makes you
Ooh.
special. That's what makes you distinct. And so, and I had to learn, yo, there's room at the table for everybody because I'm going to chop it up and I'm going to make it right for the people who have experienced what I've experienced or the people who can relate to me. But there are going to be people who can't. And so you need the other voices as well. So, in the world of staying in your lane and allowing the wind to be what you determine it to be. Like for me, success is that number one, that thing is done. We're going to begin there. That thing is done. But like if I can get a few people to start
A
thinking
few
about their
people.
bodies in a different way, and they take that and they do something different in the world because of it, like, yo, I'm happy. I'm super happy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just want,
Oh,
listen, I just want to be a part of God's story. For real, for real.
you are. You
Thank
are.
you.
You
I'm starting to
are.
believe
You
I am. Thank
are. You
you.
are. And whatever you said, it was really good.
Was it?
But but
But
when you said, "But I'm perfect,"
mm-hmm.
that ministered to something in me
That's true.
because especially women, especially black women, we go to the mirror or you go to the mirror and you point out whatever imperfections are there.
Mm-hmm.
But as you look at your reflection,
Mm-hmm.
can you see God in what God has given you?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I thought about when you were talking, my mother's hugs save the world.
Erotic.
And it's her hugs when people that are not even close to their moms,
Mm-hmm.
they they come into contact with that hug. It
Mm-hmm.
saves them.
Yeah.
Um,
Come on.
you know,
That's what chapter 2 is all about. The power of
it's
touch. The power of touch. We literally hold in our hands the ability to heal, the ability to save, the ability to reconnect. You know what I mean? The ability to inspire. And if you read Black women's literature, you always see them bathing each other. I'm like, what are they
mm,
doing? Why are they always bathing each other? And I realize that there's something in that experience, right?
mm,
That allows us, as you said earlier, to be vessels, right? To be conduits of love. Like when we actually get in our love bag, oh my
ooh,
God, The world changes, and as a result, we change as well. Because there's no way that you can go into being an instrument of God and come out the same. There's no way that you can be an instrument of God and not be blessed yourself, because that means you are in God's hands, in God's story, in God's strategy for the reclamation of the world for his glory.
I want y'all to see my friend. I want y'all to see my friend. All right. I want y'all to see my friend. Thank you so much. There is a link for her book in the chat, and we're gonna
Oh,
repost this so that everyone that could not see it tonight, they can see it tomorrow. Um, but I am so grateful
I'm grateful.
um, that God's love found a way to
Mm,
usher you into my life.
same,
Um,
same.
I I know that this conversation is going to heal generations. I
Okay.
know it because this conversation is a tithe of the relationship that me and you have.
Amen.
And
Yes.
I think we've been marinating in this love bag for
Amen.
decades, right? And
Yes.
so I want your book to be number one bestseller, everything that God has for you, because you're that dope.
Thank
And even
you.
if you weren't my friend, I would still feel like you were smart. I would still feel like you were dope. But now that you are my friend and I can text you or FaceTime you and you can nurture me back, because every single strong person gets
Hmm.
weak sometimes.
Come on. I feel like that's what we've been like.
Every single person gets
We've been
weak
exhorters.
sometimes.
Yeah. You've been an exhorter, like for real. You replenish me when I'm like, no, I can't do what you like. You better get up in that game again. Come on, girl. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you. Iron
Thank you.
sharpens iron. I'm dope because
Thank
you're
you.
dope. Like, I don't think yeah, come on. And the thing is, like, in saying that, like saying you're perfect or saying you're dope, like, that's not, yo, I'm better than folks. That's like, yo, I'm dope. Come on and be dope with me. Come on and be
Exactly.
dope with
Exactly.
me. Right.
Exactly. I love you, Courtney.
I love
Thank you so
you.
much for this conversation.
Thanks
Wow.
for letting me be part of it.
This this was amazing. Um, so if you guys did not get some part of this conversation, I'm going to repost it. This was the first one, so bear with us because we're doing it afraid. We're doing something different. If you can repost it on your social media pages, if you can tell a friend, um, because we're going to be here every Monday um, for the next 2 months. And my next guest is Crystal Aiken. She's going to be on with me on Monday. And I'm looking forward to that. And then my next book signing is in uh, Louisiana, New Orleans, with my best friend, Lavon. We're going to be in a coffee store, and it's the Essence Festival. So this is out of my comfort zone, but I'm doing it afraid. And then after that, I'll be in Los Angeles with my really good friend Darnell Moore. He has impacted me in so many different ways. And so just do what you can to make an impact in your world. If you have a book, just start writing a page. If you have a song, just write a lyric. If you have a nonprofit organization, just go and do something. If you don't write, then do a video recording or a voice note. My last chapter of this book, I could not write myself. So God appointed a team so that they could transcribe what I was saying so that this book can be published. So if you take anything away from this conversation, don't stop at the excuse. Turn it into an engine. Turn it into an engine. And I'll see you at the finish line. I love you.